All right, as always, here's the risk disclosure. Trading futures is risky. Know what you're doing before you do it, and you can lose all your money. Also, this live stream is not financial advice. It is for educational purposes only, and the live stream is not intended to copy my trades. Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing? It looks like my P&L. There we go. All right. Just trying to get everything a little situated over here on my side. Nice, Vegas. You got that updated? Good. Yeah, I sent that. Whoever has that tool, the tick management tool, I sent that update out last night. It was kind of late, so I was hoping, everybody would get it and get it updated before the open, or before you trade. Just running through my checks right now, my charts right quick. And my trade copier and all that good stuff. Making sure everything is where it's supposed to be. All right. Yeah, I'm doing good. I just checking everything out. You can see I updated mine too. I got my P&L up there. Nice. MES. Looks like we have some chop. We had a nice move overnight. Again, London session ran down from the 2.5 deviation all the way down to about halfway between the -7 and -1. A little bit of chop, came down further. And now it's chop. Right on time. Let's look at this 30 tick. Nice and choppy. Bunch of spread out order prints everywhere. So even if market comes short, there's just spaced out order prints everywhere. There is this pretty much burger on the 30 tick. You got this mini magnet ZOI mini magnet here. That's nice. But if it goes short, it's going to have a lot of turbulence on the way down. That 700 level is where it had a lot of hesitation before. If it goes long, this -7 deviation looks like it's got quite a bit going on for it. Then above that, it's still a couple order prints in there, but see what happens. So that's what I always try to look at. Where on the 30 tick could price go? And based on, is there any big targets? And if there is there any order prints that could cause hesitation on the way there? And because I trail my LREs, I look at that so that way I know if I need to keep a tighter stop, once it passes my tick goal. Because every trade I want to at least grab 20 to 25 ticks on it. So once it passes that, it's like, okay, do I need to tighten? Do I expect it to go further? If not, then, I just grab my 20 to 25 ticks or so. And, but if there's open space and a clear target, then I can let it sit for a little longer and not tighten up. Oh, wow, really? The unknown trader? Let's see. Yeah, look, let's go to the 50 tick chart. You can see that here. Here's the open, 1800. Right here. Shot down. Couple bars of chop, and then, yeah, just shot right down. Hopefully it saves some moves for my session here. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, doctor. 11,747 to 11,768. Yep. Here, let me go to simplicity. You got a pretty clear defined range for sure. Top, and the eye zone helps you see that too. This red eye zone, and then this green eye zone down here. Of course, you got a little bit in the middle, but that's, on its way to the top and bottom, gets a little choppy. And yeah, so I definitely would be looking for it to break this bottom here. As you can see, we have another ZOI. So right below that, let's go back to the 30 tick. So that's where we are here. If it breaks that bottom, then it's coming right down to this COI. And right below that, if you look, there's a green eye block. And looking left, you got a cluster on it. And you have a ZOI here. That may even be a ZOI crash behind that cluster. I can't really tell if there's a crash behind there or not, but either way, I would be definitely watching this level around 736.25. And it had ODD at that level too when it came down to it. Good morning, John. Morning, everybody. Just a reminder, now that we have more people hopping on the stream, just a reminder for those of you that did pick up the tick management tool from me. I sent out an update to it last night. You definitely want to do that update. The reason is it has some built-in safety features that are, I think, crucial. So not only is it going to stop you from trading, it's going to stop any ghost orders, crazy orders that happen. Sometimes the trade copier, when you get stopped out, it puts you in a trade in the opposite direction. It'll stop all that. So definitely want to do that update. Thank you, Vegas. Yeah. For sure, John. And then also it did add a feature for those of you that didn't see, where you can, instead of track ticks, it can calculate in points. Had a few people, there's some people that trade smaller micros and they track their points because they go for bigger trades or longer trades. So there will be the feature. And actually, while nothing is going on right now, I'll show you in the settings for it. You can select ticks. Ticks are points. loss limit, profit limit, disconnect. It'll flatten all before disconnect, and then you can delay your disconnect by seconds. So in the instructional video, I show you my recommended settings. 8:30, just about 8:30. No news. Actually, let me see if there's any earnings coming out. I don't think there's any earnings for us this morning. Let's pull this over here. And news calendar. Today is the 25th. Okay, that's afternoon. We had Boeing at 8 a.m., which that didn't help us. 25th. Okay, over here. 4 p.m., 7 p.m., 4:15 p.m. Yeah, there's no actual releases that we need to worry about right now. Stop marks indicator. What is that, John? The tar stop marks indicator. Oh, when I open my indicators, let me see. You show your targets and stops. Oh, you're talking about here? In here, the loss limit and profit? Is that what you're talking about, John? In the tick indicator, tick management tool? Yeah, that's where you set your loss limit and your profit target. So that's what tells it what to do. So if you, like my loss limit for the day, I only risk 30 ticks. So I'll put 30 ticks in here for my loss limit. My profit target, I don't want to put a limit because I'll take as much the market gives. But some people only, they want to, once they hit 30 ticks or once they hit 50 ticks, they want to stop because maybe they have a problem of continuing trading. So you can put a limit there as well. So when you have those limits in there, that's what triggers everything to work. So that'll trigger, once you hit those limits, that'll trigger flatten all, any pending orders, any outstanding orders, and then disconnect. It'll make it disconnect so you can't keep trading. So you do have to have something in there. Or else all it'll do is just show you your tick count or point count. All right, we do have a short. We have a Simplicity short here. Early entry, both angled down, broke the low. Again, I think as this comes down, we're going to have a lot of turbulence. So I'll need a really clean break in short to go short at this point because there's quite a bit going. So because I don't want this to barely come down. Oh, let me pull this up. I don't want this to barely come down in this area, especially hitting the ZOI and then take something because this very well could pop back up into that area. So I'm definitely wanting this to run down and show me a clear trend short, but a little bit leery of a short right now. Jean, I think I either have 3 or 5 days on my 30 tick. Let me see. I have 5 days loaded on my 30 tick. Yeah, that's probably why. Just make sure your PC can, handle the additional days. The 30 tick chart though, it's you can have more days typically on the 30 than the 10. I think my 10 tick I only have 2, maybe 3 days loaded. Yeah, see I have 2 days on my 30 on my 10 tick. All right, so we're approaching that bottom now, that level that I mentioned, 11,736. We're hitting that. I'm not taking an LRE here because we are literally at the bottom of this 30 tick chart. And I would not want to take an LRE to have to break through short just in case if it doesn't continue short. I want the market to prove to me that it wants to go short. So I want it to continue short first. Now, if you look too, it got really close to the deviation back here at that area. Deviation's right down here. It got close and didn't hit it and hung around. So, I mean, it may come down and get it. So let's see. We have very clear divergence on the 50 tick. It's kind of chop. I mean, it is chop here, so I wouldn't consider it really much. The chop kind of. Okay, yeah, it's breaking down hard now. It's going to hit that deviation. The chop kind of invalidates the divergence here, but there's still some divergence to keep an eye on. Morning, Matt. So we potentially have an SLZ long on the 30 tick if this bar closes up. Star 5, low volume score, ZOI. So we'll see if this bar closes down. Okay, there we go. It closed down. Don't have to worry about it. If we get a pullback now, the pullback would be right at that 736 area. I'm not too convinced it's going to keep going short, but we got a burger on the 10 tick now too. So if this does pull back, you see there's a burger right here. Actually, since we have this burger, I hate that the deviation's right here, but if this can continue going short and pull back to it, I would like to go short from there. I mean, it may come back up here to that 736 area. If it does, I may take that short back to the burger, because usually it's going to come back to this little burger. Let's see if it breaks it right now, but we got the deviation hiding right there. Now it's a little bit too tight for me to take an LRE. An LRE would be right here, basically at the top of this little chop on the 10. I'd want this to continue pushing short, actually. Potential mini magnet here on this bar. So if this can close short, that may push it to start heading down to this, maybe towards 700. Got a couple of ZOIs here, but it may be trying to go and test 700 if we can continue short here. Especially if this current bar right here closes 721.50 with this mini magnet. But yeah, an LRE would be right here around 730.75, and that's not really a pullback. That's too tight for me. I like clean moves. Like, had this come down and hit this and just did a nice clean pullback to this 736 area, I would have taken it short. But now it's choppy. A little bit of coil chopping going on. So I definitely want this to continue short. We got the double clusters, a little bit of chop. Don't want to go right back down into that. We got this short going on right here. That's nice. That may help it come back down. But we do have simplicity flip. So if it does come down, we'd need another reset to go short. Good morning, Daniel. Welcome. Since it's your first time here, real quick, I'll just let you know I do only trade the pre-market session, so about 1 hour before the open. And these are the Apex investing tools that you're seeing. This main chart here is a 10-tick chart. Bottom left corner is what we call simplicity, in case if you're not, in the Apex bootcamp or anything. Yeah, Jim, there is a cluster on the 30-tick chart right here. So there's a little bit of a battle going on. Nice, Daniel. Yeah, and that's why I take the LRE trade. Not sure if you've gotten that far yet, but it's a basically a pullback of simplicity. And that's because there's typically more opportunities during this pre-market session for those type of trades versus sniper trades. They're still snipers, but there's typically more LRE opportunities. Although, as everybody that's been joining my stream this year, all of January has been very, very tough, and this 1 hour before the open has been, for the most part, really choppy and stalls unless there's news. So this month has just been all about patience, just waiting for the perfect opportunity, and that's really it. And like I tell everybody, all I really need is 1 to 2 really good trades per day. So there's no point of, trying to rush that or force something that's not there. Just be patient. And that's really, really what it is. All right, so now we are getting a potential short again. So we had this little bit of a reset, a little bit of a fight with that 30-tick cluster, and now maybe breaking short. We'll see, because we do have ODD here on the 10-tick. So we'll just have to see if it'll continue or not. Here's that cluster. May get an early entry short here if this can break the low on simplicity, but it did not. So we'll see. Every move from here, though, that it goes short, it'll be making a new low for the day. So just to keep that in mind. I mean, it is trending very strong short. This would be the optimal area, though, to go short for me, because it is below all that mess. So we almost had an entry for simplicity. Both are angled down. We're just needing a break of the low. It hit exactly the low. So let's see if it can break it and give us a short. I'm not, and I don't take the regular simplicity entry shorts, by the way. I wait for the pullbacks. So still angled down. Just trying to break the low. We have double clusters on the 10. ZOI crash on the 10. Yep. It is ODD. It's trying to lay a mini magnet. Now let's look at this though real quick. I mentioned the 50 tick. It has clear divergence. Clear divergence here. This chop kind of invalidates that, but it is divergent. And the 30 tick potentially could be laying a mini magnet here. So this could be a JFT, John's favorite trade, trying to set up to go long if this bar on the 30 tick ends up closing up. It doesn't seem, I don't think, just because it's been trending so hard short, I don't think that'll happen, but just to bring awareness to that. Especially if this fails on the 10 tick. I mean, you've got, if this sniper, okay, so that closed up. So if this fails and comes down, then it's just going to be a strong push short, in my opinion. Which I hope that's the case. I want it to go short. If it goes back long, then we got all the OP over here to the left. There we go. Now it's trying to break short. We never got an actual simplicity entry, though. So we're still waiting on an entry here. Now both are angled down. So if this bar can close like that, now we need it to break 717.25 to get us a short here. Yeah, and this 10 tick might be laying this mini magnet to push short right there. If this bar closes down and leaves this mini magnet here, it could push us short right into these ZOIs. And yeah, John, that area, as y'all know, I don't like to take an LRE behind an original simplicity entry, because if we get an entry, it'll be down here in this area, and that level is back above it. But I may be willing to take that short because it is such a it is a pretty good level there, pretty good area with that crash, double clusters, and then if it leaves this mini magnet on it, that will look nice to go short off of it. If it can just break this, struggling, just go short for us. I definitely want this 10 tick bar to close short with that mini magnet on that ZOI as well. 716.50. We're a couple points away. Just trying to break and give us a short. There we go. Now we got a simplicity short. And it left that mini magnet there. So yeah, I'll be looking for a pullback now. But you can see how there wasn't a technical entry until just now. So, and then when there was an actual entry, when it finally broke right here, the low, it just started shooting off. So that's why it's very important to wait for an actual entry if you're taking simplicity entries. Now let's see on this pullback. Hey Dan, morning. It's such a strong trend short. Let's see on this pullback. I mean, and this could be going down to test that 700 for sure. No, I didn't take that one, Dan. It was too tight of a, like it was, the 10 tick had some coil chop and it was just too tight of an area for it to really, didn't really pull back. where I wanted. The 10 tick is what kept me out on that one. All right, so now it's going through these ZOIs, double ZOIs, all these ZOIs on the 30 tick. Yeah, I haven't taken anything. Been waiting for... It was just a mess on so much spread OP. The only thing to watch out for on this pullback is the mini magnet and then these double cluster ZOIs here. So I'm gonna see if we get something off of this ZOI up here. I mean, it's just trending so hard short. So I mentioned I expect it, if it does come down, to have some turbulence. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Let's see if it could pull back some more. Like if we had this setup going on right now, but it was up here at this COI where the LRE is, then I would like this short. But we just got to be careful with this potential mini magnet on the 30 tick right here, because I would hate for this to close up. All right, we're getting an LRE here in a potential short setup. I wish it had HD on it, but and I hate that it's in the middle of these double ZOIs. It's probably going to come down. It never quite pulled back to where I need it to anyways, so that's fine. At that point, that would have just been a regular sniper trade. But if it had this set up higher up around the COI, I would have probably taken it short. Like I said, I'm expecting some turbulence on the way down because of all these spaced OP right here on the 30 tick. These ZOIs, then we had all this back here. Now we have a cluster on the 30 tick. Yeah, Nikita, I mean, it is clearly divergent on the 50 tick. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say this would be the best JFT if this 30 tick mini bar closes up, because this chop right here in the middle, but it is clearly divergent. And I mean, I guess it could be a JFT if it closes up. Although, I mean, we are in such a strong downtrend all overnight. This is what I prefer right here. This bar to close down. With this mini magnet, this exhaustion box, trapped orders, this cluster, if this closes down at 702. Now, the bad thing is, even though I felt like it could be coming down and testing 700, it hasn't been exactly really clean. Lots of OP to go through. So, and it's better to be, and a lot of times it'll just go right through and break through some OP. You know, it's a strong trend, but see, now on the 10 tick, I mean, man, just look at all these order prints. Just, this could spell chop. And the cluster on the 30 tick. As much as I think this is going to keep coming down, I'm going to have to sit this out. I'm going to have to sit it out. Just because it's not clean. Yeah, choppy on the 10. And I still think it's going to end up coming down. But I don't want to sit through it if it's going to chop around and give you 10 heart attacks on its way down. Yeah, it's definitely consolidating. Simplicity is looking maybe to flip. Not sure. So yeah, I just need to let this clean up a little bit. That cluster on the 30 tick anyways, y'all know my rule. I'm not going to enter a trade if there's a cluster on the current bar of the 30 tick chart. So I'm out on that anyways. Too many times I got burnt by that. Even if it looks good. Even if the setup looks good and everything looks good. If there's a cluster on the current bar, like right now, then I'm out. Somebody said, yeah, exactly, Todd. Too many things saying not to take it. Too many red flags. I'll take a red flag here and there, but I got to have a lot more confirmations than red flags. Somebody said they got the simplicity earlier. Who was that? Tony, one and done on simplicity. So let me point something out on that simplicity. That was a great simplicity. This one, he took this short back here, which we're waiting for it to break that bottom, if y'all remember. So these are my favorite, and when I don't know if I ever will take simplicity entries just because I love my low risk entries, but if I were to take simplicity entries, these are my absolute favorite, and I kind of hit on this yesterday. You have a simplicity entry, you're breaking a bottom, you're breaking an area. We were waiting for it to break this range, this bottom. It broke, it started breaking, but not only did it start breaking, which I love that, but if you look at the 50 tick chart, what do I always say that happens after 4-bar chop? 1, 2, 3, 4, you look for breakout bar. Here's our breakout bar. Right here, closed at about 11, 7, 42, 75. Look at our entry on simplicity. The break of the bottom. 1142, 70. Right here is our entry. Right below that, the close of that breakout bar. Perfect. That's beautiful. And anytime you have a breakout bar like that, it usually goes for a few more bars. And sure enough, got a nice little simplicity trade there. Yep. Sometimes those 3-bar chops will run, but usually if you have 4 bars or more, and then you get the breakout bar, that thing's going to go. And, if I start taking regular simplicity entries, and the main reason why I don't take regular simplicity entries is because the stop is always different, right? It's usually always different, the stop amount. Some days your stop might be 20 ticks. Some days it might be 40 ticks. It always changes. So my money management plan is set in stone. And that's why I like the low risk entries, because I have every entry is going to be, if it's pre-market, I have a 15 tick stop no matter what. So that's why, it's because I can have more structure to my money management. That's the reason why I don't take simplicity entries. That is actually the only reason. But, those 450 tick bar chop and runs are so predictable. They happen so often that I really have been considering taking those. Especially like when you can measure out, like right now. I mean, you can measure out your stop beforehand. Like I could be here at 737 entry or 740 entry and clearly see, okay, I have a 10-point stop, which still that's, 40 ticks, but which is more than my loss limit for the day. But on those breakout ones, you don't lose very often. Hey, even if this goes short now, there's just so much below. We got another couple ZOIs, mini magnet. We still have that level down here that at 650 that I like, that little burger down here, but it's going to take a lot to get through and go all the way down there.
Potential TBS on CL.
9 o'clock. I wonder what's CL is doing at this open. Looks like CL is pretty choppy too.
Double cluster NQ. Potential TX on NQ. Potential OP rejection on CL. OP rejection on CL.
If y'all haven't seen Daryl's teaching of simplicity, y'all need to check that out in both Thrive and Sharpshooter. Daryl shows you exactly what you need to do for simplicity. You got to have a target. You got to read the OP. I mean, it's pretty simple. Well, that's why it's called simplicity. But you gotta have a strong entry. You gotta check the strength of your entry. You gotta have a target. There's too many times I've seen people in simplicity have a target and they'll just sit through, just because they're so determined to hit that target. They'll sit through a mess. It'll chop on them. It'll be up 100 ticks and it'll come back. They'll give back 80 of those ticks just because they're determined to hit that target. But there's a lot of times where you could have, and Daryl teaches this in his videos on Thrive and Sharpshooter, where a lot of times it's best to get out whenever it starts chopping and it clearly can't break an area. Even if you have a target further away, get out, and then simplicity will flip, reset, and then you get back in again and go to that target. So there's a lot of great, if y'all haven't really dug into Daryl's teaching on simplicity, I mean, it's just, obviously he created it. So it's amazing. It's really great on Thrive and Sharpshooter.
cluster CL. Double cluster NQ.
Yeah, Jeff. I mean, definitely. I had to, when I started, just taking a regular sniper trade. Real quick, Daniel, I start at around really about 8:10 to 8:15 in the morning, Eastern time. That's when I start. But yeah, I remember Jeff when I started just taking a simple sniper for 9 ticks would be that way. It's like, oh my gosh, and palm sweaty and all that. And I had to, I basically, I think you have to graduate to bigger trades because then I went from that and then trying simplicity. It's like, oh my God, it's crazy. But then I went from that to LRE, and even LRE, it's like, okay, I'm sitting here trying to get 20 ticks, 30 ticks, and it gets nerve wracking. And then you get comfortable, and then it's like you're building up a tolerance. It's kind of crazy how that works. Hey, Jeremy, thanks for joining. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and this is really, I'm documenting my whole journey, and also, this is I feel like I've pretty well. I mean, I've had success trading these LREs, these low risk entry trades. I've had my funded accounts since all year last year, and I feel like this just another perspective in market reading. That's all it is. Just another way of looking at the market from somebody else. Everybody kind of has their own ways. So I've always liked to pick up bits and pieces from everybody. How can you read that and not sing it? You have to.
Potential TX on NQ.
Jeremy, yeah. It's just kind of a bad analogy, but it's kind of like, somebody that doesn't have caffeine and they start drinking coffee, and they're going to be more sensitive than they build up the tolerance to now they can have 2, 3, 4 cups of coffee. That's kind of how this is. You build up your tolerance of sitting in a trade for the longer the trade. We have a long on simplicity going here, but I'm not too fond of it just yet. I would need this thing to continue running long for a bit because it's hitting the -1 dev. The 30 tick is in a HD state. Has 136% on this pullback. So this very well could just be a pullback and test of this area between, maybe it could go around 730 up to 730, or just test this deviation and then come back down, which this is a sweeper leg. I don't know if you've heard that term before. So when things get ugly like this, and then you get a clean leg, it just wipes out all the OP. So it's wiping out OP, stops, all kinds of stuff. So this is what we call a sweeper leg. It cleans it up, and if it comes back down, it's nice and clean for us. So that could be a sweeper leg going on, because the trend is short. It's very strong short all night. I mean, it could go up, but just, letting you know what a sweeper leg is if you don't know. So it just runs up very clean, cleans up all that OP, retests an area, and then continues the trend. So we'll see if that happens. I would like that to happen. Although, it's 9:11 right now. There's not a lot of time left for my trading session. But see, and if this goes short, that could just be that sweeper leg with some HD, 160%. If this closes at 710.25, and that could be what gets us down to 700, and maybe even blow through 700, because look how close it got and didn't hit it. Got to 701, and that's our daily low. Anything can happen, but especially we're getting closer to the open. And on that 30 tick, if this bar does close short, obviously that's HD. We have OPR here. The bar before, we have a low volume score. Nothing else on it, but it is a low volume score. So we'll see if this bar closes at 710.25. And at the same time, this is why I got to really watch, because at the same time we have this little consolidation area. Broke out through it, it's coming back, could be testing it and then go up. So just got to wait and see. Nice. Congrats, JC. That's awesome. That's always a great feeling. Testing that cluster on the 30 now. That bar did close short on the 30 tick. Close short, HD, OPR on it. Hitting that cluster here to the left. So let's see if that stalls it or what. But sure enough, that sweeper leg may be working. It may have cleaned the path for us to go down. Hit that cluster exactly, and it's bouncing up. So it's telling me there's a lot of buy orders that were sitting in that area. Jeff. Yeah. It's the hard part. Just got to take it slow and steady. All right, Vegas. See you. Have a great day. Yeah, definitely shut that one down, JC. Have you gotten your? Are you over the 7 days yet? 'Cause I know some people pass under 7 days, and some take longer. I take longer. I always take longer. Obviously. Day 9. Nice. Yep. So you'll get that email tonight or in the morning. Those have always been my favorite emails. Yeah, I might have to start waking up for the London session or something. Jeez. London session's been good this week, pretty much. Yeah, exactly, Mark. It won't move, and then my normal 1 hour day will just be all kinds of ticks thrown out for everybody. All right, JC, take care.
Potential TX on NQ.
Yep, looks like it's going to be another no trade day. 919 currently, and the market is crawling. Yeah, the only one real potential LRE was this one back here. Right at this 840 bar. That's the one that I skipped. Because we hit this level. Had some coil chop and double clusters. And it pulled up here. No HD.
Potential OP rejection
I
on
believe it had a cluster on the 30 tick. Yeah, and it had that eye block, a mini magnet right there to the left, laid another mini magnet. That was really the only pullback we had. It was just a little messy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's divergence there, but like back here, like I said, because it had this chop right here, that kind of invalidates this divergence. And then as it pulled this last little run down, it was building back up. So, I mean, it is technically still divergent, but it's just not really clean. So it wouldn't necessarily be one I would look for to reverse this trend or anything.
potential TX on NQ. Potential SLZ on NQ.
Well, 9:22 now, which means it is towards the end of my session here. And this late into my session with a few minutes left to the dark zone, I'm not going to risk anything, so I am going to conclude my trading session here this morning and call it a day. All right, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. Looks like there's some Canadian news at 10 a.m. Usually those don't impact the market much, but it is some high news, but just be cautious in case it causes, any spikes or anything. But yeah, I'll see everybody tomorrow. Thanks for joining me again, and trade well, everybody. See y'all later. Take care.